cosmic stream. STFC Briefings, it's the ultimate gleam. Tune in for tips and tricks galore. News updates and so much more. Exciting guests and interviews too. STFC Briefings, just for you.
Usually Nigel does this, but it's my honor to welcome you all to STFC Briefings, the unofficial podcast to Star Trek Fleet Command the game.
Woo! What a way to kick off M85 Strange New Worlds with the debut episode of the Mid-Ops transmission for Ops 20 to 50. Welcome everybody to STFC Briefings. We are the unofficial podcast to Star Trek Fleet Command the game. We got loads to tell you, loads of things coming up. And you know, I never do anything alone. You know why? Because I'm sad that way. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, he's the undisputed king of the Nut House. He is the legend among legends of all CCs I love to watch personally. He's a man who actually decided to start an Ops 20 account just as you can see and you can do. He is one of the greatest people I've ever known in my life. Please watch his stream on the Nut House as well. And you know what's really amazing about him? They always say that everything's a little bit better. You know with what? Here it comes, ladies and gentlemen. It comes with everything's better with Lewb. Welcome to the stage, Lewby. How you doing, buddy?
Really good, thank you. Nice to be your co-host with the mostest. Absolutely fantastic. Nice to join you on the bridge today. Hey, we've got a fantastic show today, haven't we? We're going to talk about everything that's coming up in the mid-ops. Seems to have been quite quiet on that front at the Fest Dibs. They don't seem to have put a lot of content out there for the mid-ops, but we're here to change that out. We're going to talk about every ship upgrade event, and we're going to talk about every officer sourcing window, and how these mid-ops players, 20 to 50, how they can really get ahead out. We're going to really dive into that.
Oh, 100%, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we're here to give you the details you need so you can be as successful as possible in this arc, so you can kick it off really strong. We'll give you a little bit of tidbits. Luke's got some fantastic crewing ideas for all the ships that you've got to chase and everything that's going to come through for us there. And Luke, we kick off with what we always get used to in the upper end, which is a 3-week arc. So the arc is basically going to start off with, you know, kind of the 9th of December to the 14th, running in with, you know, the Strange New Mystery, which you got to figure out. And then it goes into the holiday version, which is a Strange New Holiday, which takes us all the way through. And these are really important things, aren't they, Lube? What's the main things that people should focus on when they start an arc? What's your advice?
Oh, God, I mean, I think it'd be really remiss of us not to say everything. This is the second month of mid-ops. Second month that we've actually had a specific arc that's been written properly. It's been curated for multiple different ops levels in the game. We've got the 51 pluses, which we'll probably consider the main arc, and then we've really got sort of like 3 arcs down below that. Obviously, it's the second month of that, and I think month 1 was an absolute mind blower. I think it was brilliant. I think it was really well written. Was it perfect? No, but I just think the whole idea of it is superb, and I really like the idea that the guys that are getting the higher content, hopefully it's going to be feeling a lot more attuned to them, and then the guys down below, they've got something as well. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. But when we're thinking about like the meta events and stuff, meta events are things that we consider they've become a really big staple of the game. And anybody who's not aware what we mean by when we say a meta event, obviously, because meta can mean a couple of things. Most effective tactics available, what people generally think of when it comes to meta. But in terms of STFC, when we talk about meta, we mean that events feed into another core event. So there's like a top event, like a feeder event, and then you do little sub events that then score in the big event at the top. That's the meta event that we're always going to be talking about. I think if you understand that concept and you know to look, right, that's the meta event, what's the sub event for today, you know that I need to complete that for today to then be able to feed into the meta event. I think if you keep that sort of premise in mind, and that'll help you progress through this arc, because there are quite a few, aren't they?
Yeah, that is superb. It's really good suggestions. That's absolutely exactly how we always approach it. Once you get into that sort of mold, you'll be really successful. And the thing is, we have loads of ships available for our mid-ops, as we call them. We start off with the 20 to 30, and Lou, we kick off with the Franklin. Remember the Franklin?
I do vaguely remember it. It was the second specialty ship ever launched into the game. First one being the Botany Bay. First one
Oh,
being that when the Franklin one, it was officially one of the. It was really, really super exciting. It was the Swarm. It was when the 2009 films came out, and the Star Trek revamp series came out, and they had obviously the swarms and stuff in there. And it was so cool to see something from movies, obviously from the Kelvin timeline, come into the game and see it. It was the first time that we got that, and so many new mechanics have been sort of gauged on the way that Swarm was set up. You get a specialty ship that's really good at attacking a specific type of hostile. That sort of feature has bled its way into the game all the way through the last 7 years. But it's gonna be good. But I really like the Franklin, and it's got some good rewards as well for the lower players.
Oh, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. I mean, you've got things to aim for. There's something called Swarmed and Ready, which is going to appear multiple times in the timeline, so keep an eye on that. They've got tentative dates. Everything's subject to change, of course, but you kick off on the 10th, which is the day after the beginning of the arc. You've got a special The Swarm big event, which is likely to sit in on the 14th, and then you finish off strong with quite a good Swarm and Ready event again. These are your critical upgrade windows. So when you obtain a ship, you want to get as much as possible in as little time with as most value as you can do. So yeah, like Lewb always says, these are the metas that you should feed into your main thing and sort of focus on. So if you're with the Franklin, Lewb, just tell people how do you obtain it, what sort of crewing suggestions and how you sort of kick it off, and where do you see this going?
Absolutely. Let's just talk about some really, really key basics. So sourcing this, you can get blueprints for the Franklin using your standard mission chain. So when you look at your missions in game, you'll notice that some of the missions that just automatically appear as part of the main story. There are Franklins, I think it's part 1 to 9. You can work your way through them as you ops up with your Franklin. You get your way through, you get the unlock materials, because every single level of the Franklin has a lock which is tied into one of those missions for the warp component, so you've got to go through that. You can also start sourcing this from mid-teens, so I think it's Op 16 where you can start to source the Franklin. You can get it in Cosmic Cleanup. So Cosmic Cleanup is a hostile hunt event that runs every single Saturday that pays out 100 of the cosmic tokens that you can go and exchange for Franklin blueprints. So if you don't have the Franklin yet and you're in the 20 to 30 range, obviously that this mid-ops arc is geared for, you'll be able to accelerate your acquisition of this. Plus, obviously, you have the ability to earn Franklin blueprints as well by doing the events in this. But in terms of obviously the general consensus of it, it's got its own specific upgrade materials. So we know there's the 3 main ones, which are your gas, your ore, and your crystal. They're your 3 that you're using on absolutely everything throughout the game. The Franklin itself has its own independent upgrade material for the ship, and they are called frequency modulators. And frequency modulators are gained by killing hostiles in swarm space and also through completing your dailies. Amazing. So when you're looking out in space, you'll see a swarm cloud. So within the galaxy map, they're really easy to identify. It's like white clouds of systems. You can look and you can see that they are the ones that have got the Franklin hostiles in them. And when you go into those systems, you can then click on one of the hostiles and you will be able to see that the loot from that hostile is dropping out these frequency modulators that you can use to upgrade. And then killing those, that's not the best source of the upgrade materials. The best source of the upgrade materials comes from your dailies. And your dailies are the ones that pay out these. They've got like a greeny orange. It's swarm biominerals, but they've got like a greeny orange twin strum, so you can easily find them within your dailies. But these pay out huge chunks of frequency modulators to allow you to work on and upgrade your building. So you should be trying to complete that every single day. Now, those swarm biominerals as well, just a really quick side note, they allow you to exchange those within a refinery, which is specific for the Franklin. You'll be able to go in and see that, and then you will be able to go and get par-steel and tritanium and dilithium. And also in the refinery as well, you can exchange standard tritanium now. You can do a standard standard exchange just for normal tritanium. It's quite expensive, to be honest. When you think about this, you can get up to 3 blueprints for 1 billion tritanium, or you can get 1 blueprint a day for 100,000 standard tritanium, which I think is good. So it's got good sourcing, it's got decent payouts for the lower ops. They do become slightly less efficient as you go up, but you're never going to pull them when you get to really high ops, but they're great for the lower level game. In terms of crewing, all of these hostiles, just to keep it really simple, they all fire kinetic weapons. So a really key part to this is this little officer down here. And he's a common officer. You may think that they're useless, never use them. Talan. So Talan is a common officer which is so easily sourced through your standard recruit chests. You can get her through events. You can get, there's loads of ways to start sourcing Talan, but she has an ability which is directly reducing the amount of damage done by kinetic weapons on hostiles levels 51 and under. So all of the standard swarms are going to be covered by Talan. And in terms of a crewing suggestion, one of your go-to crews should be Pike with Moreau and Talan. What Pike and Moreau do is they enhance that officer ability. So the officer ability of reducing the kinetic weapon damage of 15%, that's boosted by up to 2.2 times if you have a maximum Pike. If you have a max Talan, it's 2.2%. It's fantastic. It just absolutely reduces the amount of damage that they throw out at you. So it's a really key crew. Other crews that you can use, if you don't have Pike and Moreau yet, you can use the cadets or you can use the next gen crew. So next gen Crusher or cadet McCoy as the captain, and then you have Beverly Crusher on one side to be able to fill that, because you'll get those common officers just thrown at you. So you can use a cadet crew with Talan, but ideally you want to be looking at Pike, Moreau, Talan for your base crew.
Oh, amazing. And remember, this is a Strange New Worlds arc, so, SNW Pike would be helpful, and so some of the SNW officers could sort of guide you towards that as well with Talan. So there's loads of options to chase. Thanks for that, Lewb. That gives us a good idea on what that. Now, if you move to 30 to 40, you're on two ships, which is the Serene Squall and the Mantis. With the Serene Squall, it is one of the greatest artifact sourcing refineries that I've seen. I really like the Serene Squall. I think it's got loads of options and loads of things that you can go through. There is loads of artifacts. However, it is not the simplest loop to do, because there's like 7 different things or 5 different things you've got to do to try and achieve it. But yeah, the 5 different things hopefully will keep you busy for a very long time. But I would chase it, because you can speed it up. You'll upgrade your artifacts. You'll have way better research and way better things when it comes to PvP, PvE, research, efficiencies. There's loads and loads and loads. One of the main things to look forward to is things like Forging Ahead. There's mining events like the Treasure Trailer, and the Strange New Holiday meta events are absolutely fantastic and critical to get the sourcing with that. Now, with the Serene Squall, Lewb, what are your thoughts with regarding to that?
So Serene Squall is a really key one for me. So the Serene Squall, like you say, it's the best source of artifacts in the game, and your artifact gallery will thank you heavily for working on your Serene Squall. But the Serene Squall really is only one part of the picture. The part of the picture that it's usable for is the transigen systems. Now, the transigen systems are broken down into 4 separate currencies in relation to mining. So within the transigen space, you've got common, uncommon, rare, and epic transigen. Now, those transigens, the first 3 that I mentioned, are probably potentially not even going to be mineable at the best rate using your Serene Squall. You may get better results using your faction miners, that you get at Ops 32 if you're in that sort of range, or if you're in the early 40s, you may find that your G4 faction miners that you get at 42 are better to mine the common, the uncommon, and the rare transigen that are available through all the systems. Where the Serene Squall comes into it is the only ship that can actively mine the epic transigen because of the hazard resistance. The hazards in these systems are 5,000%, and nothing can even get close to that to be able to mitigate it. So you have to have the Serene Squall to be able to mine epic transigen. And epic transigen within the refinery is one of the key parts to actually getting the materials and things that you need out of it to be able to access the huge artifact pulls and the new mastery artifacts, which can really, really help impact your game. I have done, just a quick shameless plug there, I have done a video all about the Serene Squall, about launching it, about acquiring it.
Amazing.
There is a video specifically about the 3 base transigens, the common, uncommon, and rare, and then I did a separate one as part of the Serene Squall, all about epic transigens. So there are separate ones, so we're not going to go into super detail here today. This is just an overview, but in terms of sourcing it, again, you're going to be able to get that using the events that you're going to get in the mid-ops range. Plus, there is a bundle. It's for some reason hidden right at the end of the transigen refinery. No idea why they put it there, but you are able to convert using your uncommon transigen that you can refine. So you to mine the uncommon stuff, refine it, and then you'll get boatloads of it. You can come and get up to 2 blueprints a day from here to help bolster your progression towards getting the Serene Squall, because it's super good to your game, especially, as we said, for the artifact acquisition.
Amazing. Yeah, it's really good to chase. I've actually, Lewb, watched your video, which helped me through it. So I would advise people to do the same, to It's Lewb on YouTube and find those video. There's a very, very good way to get you going and how to kick off with the Serene Squall. Moving on from Serene Squall, we also, between the 30s and 40s, Lewb, we move on to the Mantis, which is a very, very interesting ship. I think it's a ship that we still use till today, especially in PvP incursions and things like that. But other than that, Lewb, your thoughts on the Mantis, because it's got some great pickup sort of times with the mining event on the 17th and 22nd, docking resources, and the mission control events on like the 13th and 21st. Obviously subject to change, but there's a huge heroic upgrade that's running through the entire arc. So obtaining the Mantis is good, Lewb. Why?
I think it's massive to actually try and obtain this, because the sourcing to try and get it outside of this is really, really niche. It's sourced mainly through the Incursion store and through several event stores as well. So there is not a day-to-day method of actually acquiring the Mantis, and it is really good in a couple of areas. As Nigel said, the PvP aspects of it, being able to sting your opponents and stop them from being able to warp out, it has some really good advantages. It can really give you that edge when you're trying to do things in PvP, but it does have some decent refinery bonuses as well. In terms of the way that the systems work, they, again, similar to what the Franklin, remember I said that they use that model a lot. You use that ship and then you go to specific Mantis systems, which are just to the left-hand side of Klingon G3 space. You'll see that there's a big hub, a big spider web of systems that you can use, starting at level 43 and going all the way up to level 49. And one thing that we found with this was that one of the really killer crews for this was using a TAL-based crew. So if you are lucky enough to have TAL, now if you're in the lower ops, you may not have that, so please don't think I'm dangling a carrot that you're not going to be able to get. And we are fighting, Nigel will attest this, we are fighting to try and get some sort of TAL sourcing put into the game. But the Strange New Worlds guys, things like Sam Kirk, Strange New Worlds Pike, they are going to be absolutely epic at trying to kill these, because when you kill those hostiles that are within these systems, they again are paying out separate types of currencies that are going to be able to fuel your rewards. Now, to be able to fuel your refinery. Now, I don't know how much detail that we want to actually go into here, but there are different types of hostiles within the system, which I think is just key for us to go through. Again, there is a full video on the Mantis on my YouTube if you want to go into it in super detail. But when you look in the systems, you'll notice that there are hostiles that have got little symbols next to them. They are active exocomps that are automatically activated when you kill that hostile. So there are three types. There are one for critical percent damage, one for critical chance, one for critical damage, and then one for enhanced mitigation as well. So there are different buffs. You can see the different types of buffs at the end, and then there are standard ones as well. But going and killing those three with the exo first, you then get that exocomp to run for you while you finish your run. It helps you get more and more out of it to be able to do it. But then you're taking that back into your refinery, and then in your Mantis refinery, you're then able to exchange that for two bundles, one of them for ship upgrades, one of them for research. This was one of the first ships that had specific research tagged to it with a separate material, so you can come in and you can exchange those bundles. But then long term, I mean, I still pull these bundles now. You can get big chunks of Syndicate XP, which increases exponentially as you work through the tiers of your Mantis. And also, this is really, really privy to this mid-ops arc, is sourcing for Strange New Worlds shards. So you're able to exchange the active venom into hull fragments, which you can then use in a hull fragments bundle, which can give you up to a full unlock of Strange New Worlds Pike, up to a full unlock of Strange New Worlds Hemmer. All of the rare officers in there, Ortega, Uhura, Spock, they are all in there. There's a couple that aren't in there, for example, like Una's not in there, which is a bit of a shame. So you're sourcing in other areas, but this bundle is so good to progress your Strange New Worlds officers, and the Mantis is the key to really, really getting these done and maxed. Honestly, by having the Mantis for a couple of months, you'll probably max out all of your rares and make significant progress on your epics, because the drops for the full pulls in there are pretty decent. But the Mantis, great ship. You should go for it, mainly because of its sparsity in sourcing elsewhere. It should be a really, really key go for everybody.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree with that. It's got incredible sourcing in this mid-ops BP. We'd encourage you to chase it. It's very useful all over. The Syndicate pull is huge, because upgrading that makes huge differences to your progression, huge differences to your research, makes huge differences to your account, and gives you loads of power with that. And with that, we finished the the 30 to 40, and we moved to the 40s to 50s for our big boys of the mid-ops range with the Gorn Eviscerator. And the thing is about the Gorn Eviscerator, it is a unique ship. For me, it's a ship that makes you very valuable as an alliance. You can open rips, you can send things through it. You can get many ships through it as you upgrade it all the way through. It is not the quickest upgrade in the world, so I would chase things like alliance tournaments. I would join an alliance.
That's understatement of the year. That I think that's understatement of the year.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And then so joining a good alliance like you do will help you do that, because being in an alliance tournament store, pulling that, every day, trying to get it up as quickly as possible would be critical. But in this battle pass, there's huge upgrade events. So, I'm going throughout the whole arc with a heroic upgrade. You've got some specialist events like Gorn with the Wind, very nicely done by our marketing team, Gorn with the Wind, like that one. And then the mission control bonuses for using the Gorn Eviscerator by killing hostiles. There is a weekly event, as I believe, where you can obtain BPs. So doing that, having an alliance that has a territory that can pull some BPs from it, and you doing this might allow you to speed through that loop massively. And if I were you, I would speed through that loop. Lewb, your thoughts on the Gorn Eviscerator?
Love the Gorn Eviscerator. Like you say, it's got utility. It's not just usable for Gorn hunters. One of the key things is if you're going after the Gorn, they only take isolytic damage. Okay, so you cannot kill them with regular damage. They are isolytic damage only. So it's super important, again, going back a step to work on things like your artifacts, to work on your research, to focus on this.
Yeah.
Thinking about officers that use specifically isolytic cascade, people like Janeway, like Enterprise E-Data, Strange New Worlds, Chapel, Below Deck, all those officers that throw in the isolytic damage, Savick, all the officers that throw isolytic damage and isolytic cascade are going to be so key to you working on your Gorn Eviscerator. And the Gorn Eviscerator itself, like Nigel said, it uses its own specific upgrade material parts again. It uses the Gorn Eviscerator parts, which you can get through Alliance tournaments. You can get them every single day through the refinery. And keeping that fueled is so important, because that refinery for the Gorn Eviscerator, honestly, it's so good. There's two different sides to it, okay, because there's two different currencies when it comes to the Gorn Eviscerator. There is the standard stuff, which is the what's it called? The Apex Isomatter?
Yes.
There's the Apex Isomatter, which is the first one, which allows you to pull the parts and shards for an Apex Recruit Bundle. The Apex Recruit Bundle is fantastic. It pays out some more, again, very, very in tune. Strange New Worlds officers, like Strange New Worlds Chapel, like Sam Kirk, like Mbenga, Kirk, Pellier. There's some fantastic opportunities in there for you to unlock shards for them and really make some significant progress in that officer bundle. And then there is the Axion Plasma, which is the other material that is paid out. These are both paid out by all of the Gorn Hunter hostiles. All of those pay out, and these ones pay out stuff for you to be able to work on more officers. All of the Voyager officers, the below decks, the really key ones, the B'Elanna Torres, Harry Kim, Neelix, Tom Paris, and then you've also got a lot of the really good Enterprise officers as well, N.T. Picard, N.T. Riker, and there's a couple of other Voyagers epics in there with Janeway and Seven of Nine. So there's some good opportunity on the Doctor, and there's some good opportunity for you to work on some of those isolytic officers as well. So you want to be working on both. The upgrade material for it is brilliant, because the only locks to it are the ops locks. Ops locks stop you from being able to unlock the warp engine components, which again are so cheap to buy in the refinery. It's not a pain to get at all. So easy for you to be able to work on. But you go, you kill your Gorn hunters, and again, they've got their own different types of space as well, so they're really, really easy to find. And the spaces for them, they look like a green cloud. So not to be mistaken with the Borg clouds, which are just around one system, but they have larger areas which have got the Gorn hostiles in there. But fantastic ship, and the rip ability for you to be able to send your Gorn Eviscerator, as long as it can reach a system, you can go in there, open a rip, and drag through as many members of your alliance that want to use that rip within the time frame to be able to use it. And again, shameless plug, there's a full video on the Gorn Eviscerator, how to source it, how it works. That is all available on my YouTube channel as well, if you want to go into some more detail.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lewb. Yeah, such a great ship, a very alliance heavy, great team member type ship. It will help you get through quite a lot. The isolytic officers, the Voyager officers in particular for me, are critical to the game. You must get their below deck abilities. You must upgrade them as fast as possible. Those are massive in this game, because to ensure hull breach, to ensure morale, to ensure burning, to ensure these states to happen, especially at max tier. They are one of the most valuable things to get in the game, as well as the SNW officers, which you will be getting throughout this battle pass all the way through. Which brings me up to the sourcing windows. There's loads of great sourcing windows. Remember, there's a couple of weekend events where you can recruit officers through material spent, through upgrading ships, through tiering the officers as well. So I think trying to match everything and trying to prepare yourself to get the most and double and triple score on points will be very, very huge. So, for example, you've got the Cosmic Choice, which is coming in on multiple weekends, which is G3 Materials Plus, which give you Officer Depot token store tokens, and with that token you can pull in all the officers you're struggling in. Get as many of these as possible. Man, they are so huge to get. There's some absolute classic brilliant officers you can speed through. You can even get Nurse Chapel, which is really useful for the Gorn, for example, or SNW Pike, which is the critical middle officer for the SNW of officer setup and synergy. It's really huge. Pick queues in there. So many different officers, which is massive. And in these recruit events that we have that are going through this whole arc over 3 weekends, you've got to try and focus on what you think is useful for you and try and see if you can double and triple pull. How do you approach these usually, Lewb? If you were approaching this event and there's an officer spend every weekend, how would you approach it? Bearing in mind that the first recruit's at G3 Materials, the second one's like Armada Directives, the third one's like the FT Reactors, Protomatter, and Tier Up Catalysts. How would you do it, Lewb?
I love the way they've done this because you're not having to pick and choose. Like sometimes we have 3 independent material spend events where then you're trying to be a bit tactical, thinking everybody's going to spend all the materials in weekend 1, so I'll go for weekend 2. And then I might be able to chuck something in weekend 3 later. But I'm not going to go for the first one because people will go mad for it. The fact that it's 3 separate recruit events for 3 separate scoring mechanics, it allows you just to think, well, the 2 that are coming up for weekends 2 and 3, just remind me what weekends 2 and 3 are. We've got Forbidden Tech upgrades, and what was the middle one?
Armada Directives. And
Armada Directives. So that means that from today or from whenever I listen to this podcast / watch this video, whenever we do that, then we will be not spending any Armada Directives until that weekend. And then for weekend 3, I will not be upgrading any Forbidden Tech, regardless if there's an event like what we get on a Thursday for upgrading Forbidden Tech. I will be ignoring those and waiting, because these choice tokens, as Nigel said, they are the new 2025 version of Transporter Patterns. We all praised and heralded Transporter Patterns when they came into the game. This is Transporter Patterns 2.0, and it is Transporter Patterns on steroids. The officers that are sourced in here are so exceptional. This one bundle, the Voyager and Pick bundle, Pick Hugh has been absolutely instrumental to making me a better player, getting him maxed. It's absolutely insane. Been able to get Harry Kim, Neelix, Balana, been able to get them. I've talked about them a few times. Those 3 state below deck officers, Nigel's mentioned it, I've already mentioned it. That's because they are so important. Janeway, there's just some fantastic officers been able to be sourced in there, and I will be taking no risks at all from being able to place in those leaderboards as high as physically possible to really make use of those choice token rewards.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, exactly. And those are the strategies she's aimed for. So whether you're 20 to 29-30, where you focus on your Franklin upgrades and your swarm days and you hit the cosmic tokens to grab the officers you're missing. The same thing with the 30 to 39s, where you're pushing the Serene Squall and the Mantis, where you're forging ahead, doing the same thing, but then focusing on the material spent on the weekend. And the same thing with the 40s to 50s, where you're heavy pushing on the Gorn Eviscerator during all the events, and then finishing strong on all those specific spend events. Those weekend spend events are critical. We chase them every weekend. A lot of people save up to that, and it's something that's really critical to get you going in this mid-ops progression and get you up those ranks as far as possible. Your aim out of all this is to get promoted and come into the Premier League. In the Championship side, you're now fighting with a lot of players of your level. Try and get yourself up there with good progression and good research and everything. So for me, that's the focus that we'll be aiming for and how I approach my game. And your closing remarks, Lewb, what do you think?
I cannot disagree in the slightest. I think a big part to all this is about timing your run. Okay, and I think for too long now, the mid-ops guys have just been encouraged just to upgrade this when it's ready. As soon as you've acquired that last piece of ore, that last piece of artifact, the whole strategy part of this game, which for me was one of the best parts about going up and working through the game for the last 7 years, it's been about choosing when to spend, where to spend, what to save, how much to save, and when to actually push the button. The fact that whole strategy part of the game has come back in for these mid-ops guys, I just think it adds a whole new dimension attention to the game. I really do.
Yeah, I completely agree. This is going to be awesome, and it's going to be great. And with that, we give you this as the full update. There will be more, hopefully, with blogs. There'll be a video on Lewb's channel to go through the various things. I would encourage you to go watch them before you sort of progress on any of these things. This gives you a quick and dirty of how to kick off on the mid-ops event structure and how it's going to work. We have a terrific arc runner who's going to be doing a terrific job on this one. And with that, Lewb, I'd like to say goodbye from me and
goodbye from me, guys. Follow this. Honestly, you will walk out with stronger ships, better officers, more progress than you would have ever imagined, and you might walk out with a few extra specialty ships as well. So make sure that you're checking in on the community, following all the streams, videos, all that sort of stuff. Chat to us in the Discords, and let's just make your game better, because we can do that this month. We can make a really, really heavy press for you mid-ops, guys.
Exactly. As always, fly safe, upgrade smart, and we'll see you next time. And until then, goodbye.
Warp speed ahead, we're here to play, exploring galaxies every day. We are hosting the Cosmic Stream, STFC Briefings, it's the